welcome back to This Day. I want to welcome Dr. Alan Beyer. He is the founding physician and medical director over at Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Thanks for joining us again. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
And you guys have some kind of big news. You have a new surgery center opening. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there and what are the new things that you're bringing to the table.
Well, we're very excited about opening our 5th outpatient surgery center. This one is located very close to Laguna Woods in this area in Aliso Viejo, right on Mar Blue, right off the 73. Brand new, state-of-the-art, orthopedic-only outpatient surgery center. And it's in response to the demand for outpatient surgery. So many more procedures can be done in an outpatient surgery setting now than in previous years. Big procedures, spine procedures, joint replacements. We're doing those routinely outpatient. The patients will go home a few hours later, whereas back in the Neanderthal days when I trained, people were in the hospital for 2 weeks after a knee replacement.
When I was a kid, I remember someone getting a hip replacement or a knee replacement. It was it was a major procedure. You're cutting, you're slitting the person open. You're doing and they're in the hospital. There's recovery. It's just the advances just been remarkable in the time that you've been a doctor.
It's advances in everything. It's advances in the instrumentation, which enable us to do it through smaller incisions, less trauma to the patient. Advances in pain management. We can do a lot of blocks with our anesthesiology colleagues now that last days, so the post-operative need for opioids and things like that has decreased tremendously. And we've just gotten better at it, frankly. After doing it for 40 years, we've just evolved the procedure where the point is that patient can go home right away. The biggest driver of patients going to outpatient surgery, interestingly enough, was COVID. For years, we were trying to get patients to go home the same day, and they didn't want to. They wanted to stay in the hospital a day or two.
Safety and security.
Be babied a little bit. My wife's not ready to take me down the staircase. But COVID made people realize, I don't want to be in the hospital. I want to get home to my safety net. And that was really the biggest driver to pushing these big procedures more and more to the outpatient setting. So the new facility in Aliso Viejo is state-of-the-art. We do have overnight stay rooms, beautiful overnight stay rooms if people need them. We're using more and more robotic technology, which makes the procedures less traumatic and easier for the patients to go home because the soft tissues are less disturbed. And it's been a win-win for everybody.
Now, in terms of robotics, what have you seen in terms of the advancements in those as well from over the years?
I think we're still kind of in the infancy, maybe toddler stage with the use of robotics and joint replacement. It's becoming more and more common. The instruments themselves, the robots themselves are getting better. The goal here is always to improve outcomes, ensure better accuracy in terms of the placement of the components, because the better the components are placed, the longer the joint replacement is going to last. So AI, the addition of AI to some of these systems over the next few years will probably bump this up from the toddler stage to the adolescent stage. It's an evolution that we just have to go with, and we're all learning about it. I think the biggest advantage of robotics and AI are that it's going to enable for better training of our younger surgeons. They can do a simulated operation before they're really fully trained and ready to go out in the real world. So it's really going to enable doctors to learn more, learn better when they're ready to hit the blocks running when they finally go into practice.
Right, and I've seen AI and that kind of simulations used in a lot of things. There's a welding program at Santa Ana College where you put on the mask, you do that, but it's all computer, so you're not making terrible welds, you're learning that procedure before you go and do the real thing. And that's clearly an advantage for a surgeon, not on an actual patient, but going through the procedure and really getting the routine down, right?
Absolutely correct, and that's especially true when some of the instruments are new, and the first time you use them, you're not going to be that great at it. So this enables you to practice it in a controlled setting, not with a patient being the person that you're learning on. And I think we're going to see more and more of that as time goes on. We're using the same technology with our arthroscopic techniques and virtual reality. We're actually also using augmented reality in pre-op with our patients at HOI to relax them more. And we found that when a patient goes into surgery in a more relaxed state, they come out of the surgery in a more relaxed state. So that's a great boon also.
Now, are you guys able to do the things where you can kind of do a 3D model of maybe the knee or the hip and really look at it from all angles before you go in, so you know what the approach is going to be exactly?
The virtual reality has enabled us to do that. I remember in the old days, when I was a young surgeon, which was a long time ago, when I had a big operation the next day, I used to lay there at night in bed before I went to sleep, and I kind of did the surgery a few times in my head, saying, what am I going to do if this happens, or what am I going to do if this happens? This enables us to do that in real time with the real instruments in your hand, not just imagining it, and that's a far better planning experience.
Now, does the technology advances, non-invasive, and all the things you do, does it make everything also just a little bit quicker in terms of like you don't have as much time opening someone up, sewing someone up? Oh, will we discover something new? Or do things just turn around faster as well?
I think after learning curve, which any new technology has, once you really get it down, yes, it will make it quicker. More important than quick, though, is just accuracy, because these procedures are all based on accuracy, and the more accurate you are in placing the components, the longer they're going to last and the better outcome the patient's going to have.
Okay, so what's the process if I'm a patient, I'm walking in and my hip's been, or my knee, it's time, I know. Walk me through the process of going to one of the surgery centers.
So I think you're not going to the surgery center first, you're going to a physician's office first. And if he or she decide that you're indeed a candidate for a hip or a knee replacement, they'll assess your general medical condition, whether they think you're a good candidate for having it done in an outpatient procedure setting rather than inpatient, if there are certain medical comorbidities, heart problems, diabetes, things like that, which might necessitate a day or two in the hospital post-operatively. But if they assess that you're a good candidate for outpatient, they'll just book the surgery at one of the outpatient surgery centers, and that's where you go a couple of hours before the surgery, and you'll leave a few hours after it's done.
Okay. Now, for knee and hip, after that, is it, and now I'm going into the rehab kind of thing, one of those facilities, kind of learn to walk again, or is it, or are the turnarounds so quick? I mean, I've heard some people, they walk out and they're good to go, kind of a sense of that.
We walk our hip and knee patients the same day of surgery.
Wow.
So they get up right away and walk. We're trying to use less and less the rehabilitation facilities for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a strange place. When you put 60, 70, 80-year-old patients in a strange environment, there are more falls, they're not used to the environment.
Okay.
The safest place for these people is to be back home.
And now when you guys are investing in the robotics, it seems to me, and people, oh, my computer is 2 years old, I need a new one. I mean, so what is the turnover like? Are these robotics, I mean, are they things that you're updating, or is it software updates, or are you kind of turning over that equipment too?
Most of them are so new that they're not quite ready to be shelved and have another new one put in. Just like in an electric car, you're getting over-the-air software updates. The same exact thing happens with this process. The software is continually being revised and improved, and I expect that to keep going on and on.
And with the robotics, with the AI and the things you're using, is there precision that you find that even a doctor couldn't do these days? Like there's such a precise slice or a precise replacement and that kind of thing that it's almost impossible for the human to do? I
think that that's true in some of the soft tissue procedures that robotics have been used in, like prostatectomy. But for bony procedures, where the basic main advantage of the robot is it ensures that your cuts in the bone are going to be absolutely accurate. A lot of surgeons my age and a little bit younger who've done thousands of these feel that we can do it just as good as the robot. We still use the robot on the very complicated, deformed cases, but for the run-of-the-mill cases, you often don't need the robotic assistance.
Okay. So give me the overall, I mean, you're the founding director of the medical director for the Institute. Give me the philosophy of the Institute when you first came on board and what the approach was and how it was different than other facilities.
We're a very, very unique facility in that it's a partnership between the surgeons who work there and Hoag Hospital. Hoag Hospital was very prescient when we started back in 2010 to allow a conglomeration like this to occur. Many institutions would not. There were really 4 of us founders, Drs. Caluette, Gorab, and Prieto, along with myself, basically came together with Hoag and presented them a model that we felt would improve the quality of care, decrease cost, improve patient satisfaction, improve outcomes, and knock on wood, it's really happened. In 14 short years, we're recognized as number 18 in the United States in terms of quality of orthopedic program.
And new surgery centers coming on board all the time, like the new one you have. So a proof is in the pudding, I suppose.
Our volumes are increasing. We need more places to get it out there to the community, and we're happy to do so.
All right, terrific. Dr. Bayer, thank you so much for joining us today from Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're watching This Day. We'll be talking to some foodies when we come back.